Welcome to
the Sky Podcast.
Exclusive on Spotify.
It's been one very crazy day. I think my week's starting to
Your days are always crazy. They just don't see it because we usually film at the start of the day or at the end of the day. So you're always in pambahay. Baka akala nila wala kang job. Kasi walang suklay, walang... Di ba? Usually nakapambahay ka lang. Pero in reality, Slater's always very busy. I have to give it to you, love. You really stepped up this year. Like...
stepped up or no choice?
Both.
No choice kasi sinabi ni Chris, gusto niya, mag-retire na daw siya in 2 years. Sabi niya, I will leave you if I cannot retire.
Oy, excuse me.
In 2 years.
Happy na ako sa state of my life. Kaya ko na mag-survive. Ikaw ang may gustong mag-level up sa buhay.
So, hindi na pala tayo kailangan magtrabaho. Pwede na tayo mag-retire?
Ako, pwede
So,
na ako
okay lang?
mag-retire. Ewan ko sa'yo. Kasi yung ambitions mo, napaka-taas, di ba?
Oo, parang... Well, to be honest, mas nakikita ko yung ano yung mga gusto kong gawin. Especially this year. Overall, I know myself more. I know how to do things more efficiently. I don't know if it is it just a process of every year you think you know better.
I think so. I think
Parang-
it doesn't end.
Diba kasi, like, if I were to look back at my, let's say, 5 years ago, I thought I had it figured out. But looking at it from this standpoint, this current standpoint, parang, that guy didn't know anything.
It's always like that, I think. Like when
Yeah,
we were in
no?
high school, feeling natin, I'm so old, I got it down. This adulting thing, kaya ko to. Then when you're in college, you're like, stupid high school self. And then when you're working, you're like, tangang-tanga mga bata. Di ba? I'm so tanga then, like akala ko, and then, it's always like that. As long as you keep growing, you keep learning, you keep evolving, you keep realizing that you still don't know anything.
But the most important thing I believe is that you always keep finding new things that interest you or new things that like push you forward and parang nabibigyan ng a renewed sense of okay, I'm enjoying this part.
I think you have to be open
Yes.
to new experiences and not think to yourself that I have it all figured out, hanggang dito lang ako. Anything else na papasok, ayoko na because I'm done.
Pero sa akin, I'm looking at you. I think you kind of like had it figured out.
I've
Hindi
always
ba?
had it figured out.
Like you would
Or
be.
so I think.
I would imagine the cool kid in high school, like or in college, crush ng bayan.
Why would you say that?
I would say so. Like, diba? I would say like
No, I mean like why? I mean like why? Sige, go explain.
parang ako kasi I would say ako medyo late bloomer.
Ah.
Ikaw parang you got it figured out from the start. Nag-evolve and evolve and evolve lang konti. Parang it was more of an evolution for you. Sa akin it was like walang nangyayari.
That's so you're so mean naman to yourself.
Na I feel like I finally like grew into my own skin na medyo late in the game na.
Yes.
Ganyan.
Based on your stories, yes. And when I met you already, you knew yourself na.
Oo. But I would say like to the people listening, parang there are a lot of different types of journeys. Like you may not be, you may see your friends like, oh, they have it figured out. This crush ng bayan girl, like swerte naman niya. Of course, you were looking at it from an outside point of view. And second is, we're not all like parang equal agad.
I think what you're trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we're all on different timelines in life.
Yes, and it's not important na
Sino mauna?
dapat hindi tayo nagmamadali.
Yeah. I think especially now, let's say if I am 30 something and I'm a girl and I'm unmarried, there's so much pressure
Oo.
because society dictates that by 30 something or 35 you need to be married with kids, etc., etc. It's
Yes.
getting later and later and later, but we all have our different timelines. Like maybe one of your classmates is already a professional lawyer, professional doctor, and ikaw finding yourself pa. But that's just part of life.
Alam mo
Some
kung
people are
sinong-
late bloomers.
Sinong ganyan? Yung late na bloomer na parang ngayon idol mo na.
Yeah.
Sino
It's
yan?
small loud eh. I wouldn't say she's a late bloomer though, because I think she had it figured out, but I think she's entering a different era in her life. And when we interviewed her, she said,
Yes.
now I understand that this is really who I am and I can really express myself now.
Oo.
So it's like a small laude like internet era.
Oo.
Yeah.
Like And if you haven't listened to our podcast with her, just search it on Spotify. Meron din kaming a little talk with her. Na
It
sobrang
was so
saya
fun.
din.
And I was
Yeah.
so happy to converse with her.
Oo.
And Tito Phil, they were such a joy to talk to.
Yes, but inspiration siya ni Chris when it comes to finding yourself. Because
Inspiration ko siya sa mga bags niya, sa mga alahas niya. But kidding aside, yes, love, you're correct.
yes, it's about like parang when I see her, nakikita ko kasi na parang she may, from an outside point of view, before all this YouTube perspective, na parang, she's got it figured out. She's rich. She's like, she has a happy family, etc. But parang there's always levels to like exploring who you really are.
Yes.
And parang makikita mo talaga yung joy of doing things when you find what it is that truly makes you click.
Something that really talks to you,
Oo.
calls to you.
And all these things that I'm doing right now, napapansin ko, dati work used to be sobrang struggle and sobrang like parang it's like sandpaper. Trabaho talaga siya.
Yes.
But once you find what clicks, parang it gets a lot easier. It's still mahirap. There's still days na parang, pero parang mas fulfilling siya.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a lot different from for all of us. Some of us likes the details. Some of us dream of bigger things. Some of us like to be left alone. And some of us like to be in the spotlight, diba? But what I'm trying to get at is parang it's not na if it's not working right away, if it's like mahirap agad, it's not for you, but parang just keep at it.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll find yourself. It takes a lot of time talaga.
Yeah. And I think that to be open to all of these things we mentioned earlier is also so important. Like, for example, si Tita Small, diba? Like, so late in the game, she decided to join this internet world. I find it so inspiring because I feel like she's the epitome of DGAF. Don't give a fuck if you don't know what that means. It's so cool because if you're so well off, there's kind of this taboo, well, at least in the circles that I know, of like showing your wealth, right?
Yes.
Like, we don't really like to show it. It's if you're old rich, parang you want to just be quiet and be private. But with Tita Small, there's no agenda behind it. That's just who she is.
Hindi siya flex.
It's not a flex, but even if she is flexing, it's not to gain status or anything. That's just who she is.
Yes.
And sometimes she's funny. Sometimes her editor puts things in the video that she probably would edit out if she edited it herself. But that's what makes it so authentic and real
raw,
and relatable.
Yes.
She's so funny just because that's who she is and she's showing who she is on camera. I feel like it's so inspiring for us to look at and learn from her. You know? Na, not everything in life is picture perfect. Our personality is perfect just the way we are. We're perfectly imperfect and we can accept that and grow with it and learn it even when it's so late in the game.
Yeah. I think it's part of the process of finding yourself is all about being genuine and authentic. Every time I'm trying to do things na, I think it's a good idea, pero parang it doesn't really speak to me, I usually regret it. It usually doesn't last long. So for example, if you're trying to get into a business, pero sabi mo, okay, itong mga cooking, magaling ako magluto, pero parang hindi ko passion, pero I know I'll make money. Usually it doesn't
last.
Doesn't last. Parang ano siya, kung if it were you and me and you had the talent but I had the love and the passion, yes, you may start off faster, but I can keep at it. I can play it like a marathon and while you're doing it like a sprint.
Parang na-burnout na ako. Love na love mo pa rin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So parang, and even if you don't succeed to the level na sabihin natin the billionaire level or the multi-millionaire level, parang because you love the process, you can still feel fulfilled.
If you guys want to hear the full episode, you can
Check us out on Spotify.
Spotify.
It's free, guys. It's free.
See you there.
SKYPODCAST.
SKYPODCAST.